So I said I would do a tutorial of my cover of Frank Ocean's Chanel when I hit 50,000 views on it, and I did. So here it is. Thank you for 50,000. Before I get into doing the chords, I just want to give a little overview on how I talk about the guitar for clarity's sake. So I call this the high E, the first string, low E, sixth string. So when I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm talking in that order. I don't use a pick, so I may sometimes kind of assume that you're also not using a pick, but everything I do with my fingers should be pretty easily replicated with a pick. All right, let's get into it. First chord is a G sharp major 7th, and the first way I play that, the main way I play that throughout the song is like this. Bar on the 4th fret, second finger or your middle finger on the 4th string of the 5th fret, ring finger on the 3rd string of the 5th fret, that same fret, pinky on the 5th string of the next fret on the 6th fret. That's your G sharp major 7th, your first chord. Second chord is a C minor 7th. So you're just going to move your bar down 1 fret, down meaning towards the neck, from 4th fret to 3rd fret. You pop the middle and ring finger off, and you can just let that pinky glide from the 6th to the 5th fret. You could also use your ring finger to hit that same string if you wanted. I just like the fluidity of the way that pinky moves right down. So those first two chords in context are G sharp major 7th, C minor 7th. Third chord is a D sharp major 7th, which I play with a bar on the 6th fret, bar on the 6th fret. Second finger is on the 3rd string of the 7th fret, ring fingers on the 4th string of the 8th fret, and the pinky's on the 2nd string of the 8th fret as well. So I think of these 3 fingers as making like a kind of triangle shape. So those first 3 chords once again are G sharp major 7th, C minor 7th, D sharp major 7th. Fourth chord's super easy because it's the same exact formation as the D sharp major 7th, just slid down 2 frets. So your bar is now on the 4th fret, the other 3 fingers are still in your triangle shape. And those are all the chords in the song, just those 4. So if all you're looking for is the chords, you're already done, you can play the song. But let's talk a little bit more about strumming patterns, plucking patterns, and different voicings of the chords. So for the majority of the song, I play those chords with this pattern. Downstroke, tap, downstroke, 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 tap, downstroke, downstroke. That's the most of the song. Now I play that 4th chord only every other time through the sequence, and I'll demonstrate that. So it's and I stay that first time on the D sharp. Only now I go down to the C sharp. So every other time it happens. So that's it. That whole first part of the song from my guy pretty like a girl all the way up until it's really you on my mind is that everything we just did, and we'll call that chord sequence A. I also like to change up the voicings of the chords or change where the chords are played on the guitar. So you play the same chord but higher up. So the other way I play the G sharp major 7th is higher up at the bar on the 11th fret. Before we start making that chord piecemeal, let's just do it this way. Make your D sharp major 7th shape, your fingers in the triangle again, and you just shift that up so the bar's on the 11th fret. And there you have it. There's your higher voicing of a G sharp major 7th chord. Sometimes it's just that easy. The higher voicing of the C minor 7th, shouts to these sirens for being consistent, I gotta love New York living, is with a bar on the 10th fret, bar on the 10th fret, second finger or middle finger is on the 2nd string of the 11th fret, and your 3rd finger is on the 4th string of the 12th fret. So those 2 higher voicings of those chords, the G sharp and the C minor 7th, are. Now the D sharp major 7th, I don't play differently. I don't change the voicing for that. That stays the same, and so does the C sharp major 7th. So once again, the second version of that chord progression is chord sequence B. Now the whole song just jumps between chord sequence A and chord sequence B. So when we get to "It's really you on my mind," we're going to chord sequence B, the higher voicings. And just as a brief aside as to why I do that in terms of like more general guitar arrangement tutorial, I generally like to have the guitar doing what the voice isn't. So if I'm singing high, I like the guitar to be playing low or playing lower notes, and vice versa. There's only 2 instruments, so I think it's better to be filling up as many frequencies as possible. So take that or leave it as a pro tip. So that's why when I go to the lower part of my voice, "It's really you on my mind," I'm going up to the higher voicing here. And I also thought, let's change up the strum air plucking. Let's do something a little different. So these are arpeggiated. It's just thumb, index, middle, ring in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that takes you all the way through "It's really you on my mind" until "Leave both sides of the 12." And once it gets to that big part of the song, that climax, the "Leave both sides of the 12," that feels like a huge moment. It feels like it needs to be big. So we're going back to chord sequence A because I'm singing higher. And we're also just going to strum a little harder. Same exact strumming pattern as before. Downstroke, tap, downstroke, tap, tap. But you can make those really big. Both sides of the 12. Strum all 6 strings nice and heartily. And then at the end of that big climactic part of the song, he's still singing the same melody, but he's kind of a little calmer. "I see both sides of the 12. See both sides like Chanel." And that, I'm still playing chord sequence A, the lower voicings, but I'm using the flat part of my thumb instead to give it that calm, kind of breezy feel to it. Then we go back to that outro. "My pocket's snug," when he starts talking about his pockets are snug. We're going back to chord sequence B, and this is sort of a free-for-all. I do a little bit of arpeggiated stuff, a little bit of tapping. You can kind of mix it up, but as long as you're playing those higher voicings of those first 2 chords, it should sound how I'm doing it in the video. And you might be going, "Hey, Evan, you skipped the intro." I didn't. The outro is the same thing as the intro. The arpeggiated higher voicings, the arpeggiated chord sequence B, is the intro before I start singing. So there you have it. That was my first ever tutorial. If you liked it, tell me what other tutorials you want to hear, or other songs you want me to cover. If you hated it, you could say that too. I mean, all press is good press, right? Didn't mean for that to be the end of the video, but it is. Bye!